Picture Sachin, a 20-year-old aspiring musician, standing completely still while the entire world is just rushing past him. He is totally paralyzed by this immense fear of stepping out of his comfort zone. And honestly, it's a feeling so many of us can relate to, right? There's this invisible barrier tethering us to what we already know, simply because the alternative, the absolute unknown, is just terrifying. Today, we're unpacking a truly cinematic, emotional narrative that explores exactly how we break through that psychological barrier.
Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a deeply emotional, brilliantly structured three-act story all about exploring the other side of life. At the very center of it all is our main guys Sachin and Reenu, his college love interest. Through their journey together, we're going to see how the idea of personal growth transforms from this intimidating, scary concept into a lived, breathing reality. So let's explore how this story beautifully maps out the incredible human capacity for change.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the comfort of routine. So think about Sachin's psychological anchor. It's built entirely on nostalgia. We're talking childhood toys, that absolute favorite local biryani spot. These things represent pure safety. They require zero risk. But then you contrast that with the Bangalore music competition. It is massive, it is intimidating, and it absolutely demands that he leave all that safety behind. The story really highlights this deep psychological attachment to the familiar, contrasting it so sharply with the daunting prospect of performing in a totally new city. It's literally the ultimate setup for a giant leap of faith.
Which brings us to the catalyst. Section 2, stepping into the unknown.
Just imagine the escalating anxiety as the clock ticks down on his journey. Hour 1, he's boarding this incredibly crowded, suffocating bus. By hour 3, the travel struggles are so real and the doubt is creeping in heavily. You can almost hear him thinking, was this a massive mistake? Should I have just stayed home? Then hour 6 hits and the sprawling, overwhelming city of Bangalore comes into full view. Finally, hour 8, the countdown to the stage begins. The narrative builds this amazing, energetic rhythm as he gets closer, showing us that, the journey out of your comfort zone is rarely glamorous, it's grueling, it's exhausting, and it is filled with constant second-guessing.
Now for the high-stakes moment. Section 3, the Bangalore stage performance.
The spotlight hits. The music begins. You can just feel the terror radiating from him in this moment. The sweat, the tight, white-knuckled grip on his instrument. Everything Sachin has feared his entire life is now standing right in front of him. But then, as he actually faces those fears and starts to play, the tension just breaks. The crowd reacts, the energy shifts, and he realizes he's actually doing it. He is surviving the very thing that kept him frozen for so long.
Slowing things down a bit for Act 3. Section 4, the emotional turning point.
Now what's really interesting about this part is the massive shift in momentum. Right after the intense, pumping adrenaline of the stage, everything slows down. He has this highly emotional, intimate phone call with his mother that just shatters whatever lingering self-doubt he has left. This is such a brilliant narrative choice because it shifts the focus away from the external validation of a cheering crowd right back to the internal, foundational support of his family. It proves that stepping into the unknown doesn't mean you lose the people who love you. Actually, sometimes it brings you even closer to them.
Empowered by that call, Sachin doesn't just sit back and celebrate. He takes immediate action. We see this desperate, urgent rush straight to Reenu's house. And keeping total character consistency, the Sachin who was completely paralyzed by fear at the beginning of our story is now literally running toward his future. He is acting entirely on his newfound confidence, and the physical urgency of his actions perfectly mirrors the incredible psychological shift that just happened inside him.
And that run culminates right here, facing the one who matters most. This is the pivotal, deeply emotional love confession between Sachin and Reenu. And what makes this scene so incredibly powerful is the subtext. He doesn't need to give some huge dramatic speech about how much he's changed. His very physical presence there, the fact that he stepped out of his comfort zone just to tell her how he feels, is the absolute undeniable proof of his growth.
But wait, there's a twist. Section 5, the parent's hidden plan.
And this brilliantly illustrates something so crucial. Just when you think the emotional arc is completely wrapped up, the story reveals that growth is rarely a totally solo endeavor. Think about the sequence of events. Step 1. There was an unspoken arrangement between his parents all along. Step 2. They were secretly guiding him from the shadows, subtly pushing him toward that Bangalore competition without ever forcing his hand. And then Step 3. The powerful reveal. Sachin realizes that, while yes, he had to take the actual steps himself, his safety net had secretly reorganized itself to catch him if he fell.
It adds this incredibly uplifting, heartwarming layer to the whole story, proving that his leap into the unknown was supported by the very people who built his comfort zone in the first place.
Bringing it all together, Section 6, the second side of growth. Every coin has a second side. Growth begins when we dare to see it. This right here is the core theme of the entire narrative. Sachin lived his whole life entirely on one side of the coin, the nostalgic toys, the familiar routines. But it wasn't until he actually dared to flip that coin, to face that grueling bus ride and that terrifying stage, that he found the true confidence to confess his feelings to Reenu and finally realize his own amazing potential. The transformation from a paralyzed young man to a confident, emotionally honest individual is absolutely complete. So I'll leave you with this question. What does the other side of your coin look like? And what are you waiting for to finally flip it?